Welcome, welcome, and hello, hello, and welcome, welcome, and hello. I don't know. StreamYard just gave me some kind of an error. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. My mic is not muted, but welcome and hello, guys. It is Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more, as my hat and my shirt might give you a little bit of a hint. We are talking SoFi. Ticker symbol is SOFI. And if you read my hat, it says buy SoFi, Nafafepo. That means not financial advice, for entertainment purposes only. Still can't see if anybody can actually see or hear me, but I think there's one person watching this idiotic show. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on SoFi Technologies Incorporated. Ticker symbol is SOFI. Sort of a big announcement today. We knew this was coming, but they announced their stable coin that they're launching. It's going to be backed by cash. It's going to be sort of the gold standard, I think, of these stable coins, because they're the first nationally chartered bank to launch one on the public blockchain. It's actually going to be launched first, I believe, on Ethereum. At least that's what I'm reading. So the whole crypto world is abuzz, all kinds of articles. SoFi's name is on the tip of everyone's tongue. So if your ears were burning, yes, they are talking about SoFi Technologies Incorporated, and you find yourselves in the enviable position of watching Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more. So yeah, why is this important? Why is this a big deal? What does it mean for SoFi? I think SoFi is going back to all-time highs before the next DR. I think it could even go back to all-time highs. This stock moves really quickly. It moves really quickly up, it moves really quickly down, and then it trades in ranges sideways. It's kind of what I think is going on with the stock right now, in terms of where they're trading. Obviously, you see the 50-day moving average just cutting right through the middle of this channel, as the stock has been trading sideways now for 5 months. And I know it looks pretty dramatic because you see a lot of peaks and valleys. You see this very odd pattern that developed here. We had like one big red green candle, a small candle, a big green candle, a small candle, big red candle, a small candle, green, small candle. But I've really never seen anything quite like that before. But it was just riding along. You can see riding along the 50-day moving average. So these algos, work in mysterious ways. But the bottom line is it bounced pretty hard right off of there. And this news is certainly going to help. I just kind of went over different, Copilot, Gemini, kind of work with all the AI, and then I kind of put a list together just to have some coherent thoughts on the matter. As you know, I have a tendency to just ramble endlessly. It angers people, but whatever. What's going on? AGI01. Government data has been unreliable. It's not just today. Even the bears will tell us. Yeah, I mean, government data is super sketch because nothing in the government is objective right now. Everything is sort of centered around, everything's sort of centered around personal agendas. Like, you just don't know about this data. A lot of the people that were keeping, the stats and stuff have been fired. So all the, all the people doing oversight have been fired. All the regulators have been fired. So you just really don't. The government has, under this administration, they say like they're the most transparent administration in history, but if data comes out that they don't like, they just want the person fired. I don't know. It's a strange way to operate, but it's like I said, don't worry. The country is strong. People are strong. People don't really hate each other. I think at the end of the day, this is like a really divisive period, but I think we come through it just fine. And I think the economy's fine. I think they're sorting out all these tariffs and trade and stuff. What I worry about is more the geopolitical situation. I mean, the American worker, innovation, technology, AI, productivity, hard work, never missing a day. I don't have any doubt in American people. It's just sort of like this is just very touch and go geopolitical times, obviously, not just with Russia, China. There's all kinds of flashpoints around the world that are just, Israel. It's just if you kind of remember over my lifetime, certainly one of the more eventful. And then you have like Venezuela, the Caribbean, all this stuff just coming into play, sort of flashpoints all over the world. Uncertainty. The market usually doesn't like uncertainty. A lot of things green today. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. What's up, Oleg? How you doing? How's everything over in Ireland? The Pete. Let's see. Things are bad when the Statistics Bureau has been politicized. It's just not, it's not helpful. It's not helpful for this administration. It's better to have real numbers and you can make real policy because you want to really govern. That's the thing. It's not a game. It's not a contest. It's not like, it's critical that, these institutional bedrocks and foundations of the financial markets hold, their objective and all that stuff. The Fed, I mean, when it's all politicized, and I'm not saying like other administrations haven't politicized things. Believe me, this didn't all start with Trump, but I'm just saying it's gotten kind of, to the extreme where it's like all hands on deck with the agenda. And I don't know. It's like some people are saying, well, you should have cut more. It's like, we don't need to cut more. You need to look at, sort of what is your job? Your job is not just juicing the economy. It's a balancing act, I guess. But the Fed sort of, their number one thing is just getting inflation down. But I think it's always been a balancing act. There's always been a political element to everything. It's not like, no administration wants to destroy their economy, especially heading into a midterm where it's like do or die for the agenda. So I don't know what's going to happen. But anyway, as far as SoFi, the stable coin, they're shorting a little bit today, incidentally, if you care. I don't know what it was. Yeah, just not too much, 170,000 shares. But short interest is still pretty significant on this one, over 9%. Institutional ownership continues. This is insider stuff, but institutional ownership continues to tick up over time, just kind of from a straight line here, obviously well into all-time highs. And I'm pretty sure that's going to keep going up. It's just the trajectory that the stock's on. Institutional ownership, if you remember, was always riding, 28, 30%. And then, boom, it just kind of exploded off of those levels. And not exploded, but just a nice steady increase. I always forget how to get out of this thing. Anyway, so why is the stablecoin important? It's not just the first mover advantage. It's new infrastructure, revenue streams. It's going to come for consumers, but it's going to provide infrastructure for other banks, fintechs, enterprise platforms, offering white label stablecoin services and settlement rails. SoFi can generate B2B revenue beyond its retail base. This diversifies income, reduces reliance on lending margins. It enhances trust through regulation and reserve. SoFi is fully reserved one-to-one by cash held at the Federal Reserve, eliminating credit or liquidity risks. Investors benefit from regulatory clarity under the Genius Act, which ensures transparency and compliance. This makes stablecoins safer than competitors like Tether, which rely on commercial paper or mixed reserves. Faster, cheaper settlement. SoFi USD enables 24/7 near instant settlement at fractional cent costs. It's, faster, safer, more accurate. And this kind of threatens the legacy, banking system of these transfers and all these fees. It's very archaic. And this is the next chapter, and SoFi is writing it. So very, very exciting for the SoFi investor. This efficiency improves SoFi's own operations, crypto trading, card settlement, remittances, and makes its platform more attractive to partners. So this will help tech adoption, we certainly hope. Lower transaction costs and faster liquidity cycles can directly improve profitability. That's a pretty important sentence. Lower transaction costs and faster liquidity cycles can directly improve profitability. And finally, the fifth little spiel I had here was global expansion, dollar liquidity. SoFi USD can be used internationally, especially in countries with volatile currencies. Offering dollar-denominated balances through SoFi products expands its global reach and strengthens brand loyalty. Investors gain exposure to a scalable growth opportunity in the $309 billion stablecoin market, projected to exceed $3 trillion by 2030. So if you look at competitors like Circle, it's another fintech firm reserved by cash and treasuries, but they're regulated at the state level with licenses, where SoFi is regulated by the OCC, FDIC, and the Genius Act. Their reserve is backed by 100% cash at the Fed. They're a federally chartered bank. The settlement speed is near instant, 24/7. If you look at, Tether, they're offshore. The reserves are mixed and opaque. The regulation is much more limited. And the settlement speed, though fast, is less transparent. Bottom line for investors, SoFi's stablecoin launch means new revenue streams, stronger regulatory positioning, and global growth potential. It's not just a crypto play, it's a bank-grade infrastructure move that could materially expand SoFi's valuation multiple. There it is. There it is. You think Anthony Noto had something in mind for that cash he was raising? This stablecoin, just where he's going with this is a game changer. They just don't want to be another bank. They want to be the bank. When Anthony Noto says this can grow into $1 trillion company, I really don't think he's just blowing smoke. I think people think that's, it's a throwaway line. It's not a throwaway line. I've been saying for years about this company. They are building a long-term monster. They are the pig that built their house out of bricks. They understood the importance of this, boring foundational work that doesn't juice earnings right at the beginning, right when they went public, integrating all the tech, getting the bank charter, buying out the bank, all this stuff that it just didn't juice the revenue at first. But Anthony Noto had a plan. He had a vision. And he knew the timing when he needed to do certain things. That's what he said. I know what's important. And I know the order of operations. And I understand, you guys want options and you guys want crypto back, but it comes in a specific order according to our plan, according to the regulatory framework. And now you're going to have business banking coming online as well. I mean, this next year just couldn't look brighter for the SoFi investor. I see EPS absolutely exploding for SoFi in the next couple of years and easily exceeding their own internal guidance and just destroying analyst guidance. These guys have SoFi growing the next 5 years on CAGR 17%. 17% of these nuts. I mean, that's laughable. They're growing over 30% year on year. And I see that just accelerating. Now, the top line growth probably won't keep accelerating just due to, law of large numbers. And once you get scale, obviously, you have to add more and more members and just to sort of keep up with those numbers. But I think 17 is weak sauce. I think it could be over the next 5 years, easily could be mid-20s. Like an ultra short-term bond. I don't know if that's exactly what it is. I think it's more like a tool for their infrastructure, a tool for settlement. It's, sort of a stand-in in a more modern way for a dollar. It basically almost is a dollar, but it's just a modern digital dollar. That's one way to think about it. It settles instantly. It settles securely. I don't know. I don't claim to be any expert on crypto or stablecoin. That's pretty obvious. Big fat doofus. Not exactly I don't know how to code. Let's see. Yeah, he's making big moves, Genio. Genio's here. I just love that name, man. Probably mispronouncing it. Eugenio Morales. I wish I had an accent. I wish I was cool. I wish I was Latin or something. Something with some flavor. Hey, it's my buddy. He's like a fat white guy. Oh. Intriguing. Mysterious. Let me guess. He plays video games. Likes pizza. Crazy. Let me guess. He doesn't read and likes comedy movies. Lucky guess. Let me guess. He likes chili dogs. Carnitas tacos. California burritos. Meatball sandwiches. Chicken quesadillas. Am I getting warm? This fat guy? Oh, guys, as you could tell, I'm hungry. Oh, the Noto lurker riding my ass. I got no coffee in me. I got no coffee. I walked probably 6 or 7 miles already today. I feel like I'm going to die. Dude, my fat legs did about 300 squats this morning. Walked uphill both ways about 7 miles. Walked QT around the block, started having a full body cramp. People thought I was pop locking. People thought I was doing the robot or something. I'm like, I'm not doing the robot. All my muscles are cramping all at once. You ever have a full body cramp? Start writhing around. The worst is when you're like, say you got both feet cramp and then one calf starts to cramp. Basically, you got to go down. Big man going down. They're pushing SoFi back down here toward $26, but don't pay it no mind. This thing's going back to all-time highs because Anthony Noto is building a monster. Anthony Noto is not building a company to go to 30. Anthony Noto is building this company to go to 100 and beyond. You just have to share the long-term vision, share the patience. I thought it was so funny how people freaked out over that offering. I'm like, you don't think he has anything in mind for the money? You think he's just going to, leave it sitting there earning no interest and like screw over shareholders and screw over himself? He has like, whatever, 11 million shares or something. Screw over Chamath, the great Chamath. Wow. Oh, I miss Billy Blanks. Anyway. Yeah, hydration tablets. Take a salt tablet. You guys remember Coach Sowers from King of the Hill? He eventually tried to run down some of the players doing donuts out on the field in his Cadillac or something. Take a salt tablet. Anyway, I need a lot more than salt tablets, Clap My Dog. I need an entire lifestyle overhaul. If you're available as a life coach, don't mind leaving in Spartan accommodations, my basement. Let me know. I don't know. Why are they pushing? Is the whole market being pushed back down or just SoFi? I just got a hard on for SoFi. Yeah, the NASDAQ's coming back down a little bit. But that's fine. Nothing to worry about. It looks like they're, like I said, they continuously are banging it off this 26.13, 26.20 level. Let's just see if some buyers don't come back into the stock. One thing you notice that's kind of curious, guys, for an announcement like this and a day like today where everything's green, you think a lot of cash is coming back into the market. You had the rate cut, so presumably bond yields would be coming down. You'd think money would be flowing. You would think the tendency would be money to flow back out of money market and bond back to some equities, but I don't know. I think a lot of the statistics still say that the opposite is happening. I know that some of the old money is flowing out of Bitcoin, that's for sure. It's like the activation, the OGs have been selling constantly. But in terms of where this is going to go and when, it's hard to say because it's in that little range right now. And I think there's definitely quite a bit of resistance at 30, 31 level, low 30s. So it's got to break through there, but it's going to happen. But we don't know when. Only certain few institutions sort of know when that's going to happen. And a lot is sort of, relying on the overall economy. I think the overall economy is weaker than anybody is sort of talking about right now. And I think we're going to get more rate cuts next year. I don't think they're going to be able to sustain. I don't think they're going to bring down prices as much as they think either, because a lot of the price increase was corporate profit taking. It wasn't, it wasn't actually inflation and tariffs. That was part of it. But if you look at some of these, consumer staple companies, oil companies, a lot of the places, the price, just went crazy on a lot of these, staples and stuff. A lot of these companies were just sort of, taking the opportunity not only to, pass along those additional costs in terms of interest and tariffs and shipping and, oil and fuel and all the rest, but they just also tacked on a bunch of extra profit, and also shrinking product sizes and, all the other stuff they tend to do. So, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. There should be competition coming in and, providing items lower cost, lower margin until those margins aren't attractive. And just kind of, that's not how the real world works. In the real world, these brands, kind of collude on their pricing strategy, perhaps tacitly, perhaps consciously, perhaps unconsciously. Perhaps it's a wink and a nudge. Perhaps it's a, whatever. Perhaps they goose each other in the locker room, do some towel snaps. Perhaps it's a purple nurple. Perhaps they play a little game of got your nose downstairs, if you know what I mean. Oh, God. I love the double play combination of Glenn Hubbard and Mike Gallegos. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of the gag man. Anybody knows how to get me in touch with former Oakland A's standout middle infielder Mike Gallegos, please let me know. If anybody can get me in touch with former Atlanta Braves standout Glenn Hubbard, let me know. I'd love to put together a podcast. Glenn Hubbard, Mike Gallegos, and myself just talking 1980s baseball, just talking mustaches, just talking playing second base from like 30 feet into the grass. Gag man, just turn into grounding out into a weak double play, critical situation. Oh, man. Love me some A's baseball. Coliseum. It's cost friendly if your family didn't have cash. Like I said, they were giving away tickets. Those bleacher seats for like $4. Nobody wanted to go. Yeah, I got a charitable trust in my shorts, believe me. It's very charitable. South of the equator, I'm playing buck short, if you know what I mean. Got that 10th man. Last man up. Yeah, I believe it, Brian. They really want to get you out of this thing. I'm telling you. Just follow the money. Just see it. Maybe you're right. Maybe they're fleeing. Maybe they're selling. Or maybe they want to buy more shares cheaper. That's a possibility. So this is the institutional ownership on SMCI. That's it. That's the filings we have. So, you tell me. And then I don't know if there's any recent filings. Not really. The AIA Group Limited increased their shares 76%. Peterson Wealth Management took a new position, and Garde Capital sold out. CTC has some kind of exotic options trade on. They also got a huge long position from 44. Tudor, it's got some kind of a ball strangle on this thing, some kind of a banana hammock play. Little squeezer. Oh, a little kick in the nuts play. I love a parade. Guys, sorry, I'm trying to run a couple of little no account 2-bit businesses out of here while I'm talking to you idiots. You guys talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, that Neo ES8 chip shortage, it's nobody's friend if you like the Neo stock. I like the guy Rune. Rune is in the comments. If you like Neo, he does not like Neo. But I appreciate that. It's been a rough ride. Let's face it, the stock was what, 68 or something. Now it's 5. But as I point out, it was 350. You gotta play the swings, guys, in this volatility. You gotta learn to trade options effectively, because it's a huge multiplier, and it's the only way you're really going to get wealthy in this market. You're not going to get wealthy probably just buying and hold. You will over a long period of time, but you have to be putting in capital. If you don't have a lot of capital to put in, you have to be aggressive with options if you want to make moves, if you want to, really make something happen and make something out of nothing, make $1 out of 15 cents. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but, yeah, SMCI, I'm not at all surprised it continues to go down. Remember, this is a project stock for Wall Street, and they need that crazy volatility to tug on your emotions and heartstrings and tiny wings in order basically to get you to buy the top and sell the bottom. They want you to sell the dip and then smell the rip. And SMCI is a stock that they've run up to 60 in the 60 area, what, 4 times now? They keep banging it off these lows. So I don't know. I wouldn't be overly concerned. Look at this level. I mean, how many times have they brought it off of this level? Just in the last year, it's been down here 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the 5th time. So I don't know. It's been up 3 times. I mean, even if you go back further, up 4 times, up 5 times, down below. So I don't know. I don't think it's a huge cause for concern. And it's the same level they were running the stock before the huge, AI NVIDIA pump even started. I just feel like they want to accumulate the shares low before the next ER. But perhaps I'm just completely naive. And it's just a big pile of dog shit. It's been known to happen. They're shorting a little bit on SMCI. Sorry guys, my voice is a little bad. I've been getting yelled at by clients on the phone. They don't like my body type. Said I'm a bit of a pear shape, a bit dumpy. Said I look like a spilled bowl of pudding stuffed in a paper sack. Say I look like body by foie gras. Say I look like I eat nothing but Crisco. Let's see. So yeah, 17% of the free float's kind of leveled off. Shares on loan popped up of late, but then that's leveled off. Cost to borrow is almost nothing. I just don't see, as long as institutions don't dump and insiders don't dump, I don't think you have anything whatsoever to worry about. You cannot be afraid of price action. We don't control price action. Insider ownership still 26%. I mean, so if institutional ownership is, 3, do the math. I mean, insider shares, 160 million. Okay. Institutional ownership is 353 million. So, if you add those two numbers up, you're at what, 510 million plus 513 million or something. So there's really not a lot of shares out there trading. I think I'm not going to start, sticking my finger in the wind and saying short squeeze or anything like that, because obviously there's plenty of institutions that are sort of, you're playing both sides. Quote the great Sean Connery, you're playing both sides. Anyway, I believe that was in, can't remember what movie that was. I don't even know if I ever saw that movie. But anyway, yeah, Super Micro, I just think all the worries, all the bearish stuff is overblown. And with a cyclical product and, these huge orders that span years of work or quarters and quarters of work, you definitely can have a down quarter just based on the very end of a product cycle and not having been able to recognize the revenues from these big projects with the new generation of whatchamacallit, Mr. Blackwell's processors, the HB 300s or whatever the hell they are. So honestly, I know the price action seems painful, but I'm not really that worried about Super Micro. And SoFi, let's see what SoFi is just doing on the daily just for laughs. Yeah, I mean, it's dancing, it's dancing. But the algo is still working hard on the stock. You can see all the peaks and valleys. They're just exaggerated with the stock like they always are. Volume is unusually low for a day like today. I don't, and retail is buying back in. I think some of retail that lost confidence. But this is a day you'd expect it to churn like a good 100 million plus shares. So I just feel like market makers are trying to throw a wet blanket onto the stock because I don't think they're ready for it to move yet. I don't think they're properly positioned. And I think they thought a lot more of you were a lot weaker than they thought. And I think us retarders hold up a lot better than they think. They think they're going to like stop us out at 26 every time. Look at these these big baby push downs. Look how many shares they dumped to push this down below 26. They're like, for what? Day traders? I mean, how many people actually are stupid enough to just set that stop? Why? Why would you worry this company's going to plummet? This company's got some of the best management I've ever seen, some of the most steady, stable, rapid growth I've ever seen. And I would bet their growth is some of the most stable of any public company ever. If you just look at that revenue growth, looks like a goddamn staircase. Looks like a ladder to heaven. Shout out to Alan Jackson. What's up, Scott 2412? What's up, Clap My Dog? Stop in at $1. There you go. That's the kind of stop loss I like. That's a good one. Untouchables. I don't think that's untouchables. Put one of ours in the hospital, put one of theirs in the morgue. That's the Chicago way. A huge Sean Connery fan. I'm actually a big fan of the film The Rock. Nicolas Cage. No, don't come to San Francisco. Modest Mouse. Laughing it up. You're going to have a sore belly if you laugh too much. I'm glad you enjoy the program. Somebody's like, hey, I can't get through the intro. You know, you suck. You're a big fat jerk. You don't know anything. I'm like, okay. Those are fair points. You know, I'm a comedian. I don't know anything about stocks. I just know that I have suffered a lot in these markets the last 3 decades, guys, and only probably the last like 10 years, I really figured it out and I started just banking all the time. Like I just stopped ever dumping on emotion. I stopped believing anything in the media, anything analysts said. I started being contrarian, basically understanding that all they're trying to do is herd us like sheep. And if we just don't cooperate and we just don't buy the narratives and we don't sell the dips and smell the rips, you're going to make a huge amount of money long term, because if you buy quality, it's going to go up over a long time. You know, they say, oh, that's that thing they always say on like stock twits, like over a short term, it's a popularity contest. Over the long term, it's a weighing contest. Like it comes down to how much money you make. Like there's a reason NVIDIA is so valuable. It's not like a scam. They spin off more free cash than fucking a golden goose. More hair than Rapunzel. Know what I'm saying? So anyway, I think this is an extremely important day for SoFi. I think it's far more important than the, you know, fucking grocery credit card or the, you know, any of this other stuff. Far more important than their crippled, crappy options offering. Far more important than even the day they were put out of business by the great Marcus offering, the great Goldman Sachs. I know most of your Marcus users, not to be confused with Mom Jean's Marcus Lamonsis, the prophet. I believe in people, product, profits, and Mom Jeans. Okay? Okay. Fuck yeah, man. Turn my company around. I'll put some Mom Jeans on. I don't care. La Tigre. Hold that tiger. Got it. Threaten me with a good time. Turn a company around. Get down to brass tacks. Put on some Mom Jeans. Guys, I believe in product, process. Your son's a moron. Why do you let him run the company? You know, Mark, is he a good kid? No, he's not. He's a complete piece of shit. Well, you're right. You're right. He's garbage. He's running the place into the ground with these new tech initiatives. I love, like, you ever notice in business, like, young people always think they know stuff about, like, futuristic stuff? Like, that could really modernize your tech and social media. I remember, what show was I watching? It was one of those, like, kitchen nightmare shows, and it was some poor Southern folk, and they had, like, a barbecue restaurant somewhere in the flyover states. And they were paying their brother-in-law all this money because he knew how to use the pooter. They're like, he's real good with the computer. Like, this is our brother-in-law, Yule. Like, what the fuck? Like, he's so good on the computer. I'm like, they're like, how much are you paying him? Like $100,000 a year. He puts out a mailer. Why do you need my address? We like to send out a mailer. I mean, just because you know how to use a computer doesn't mean you're worth a damn thing. But if you're too dumb, or you not too dumb, but just too ignorant, or you just don't have the experience or the exposure. And a lot of people weren't exposed to computers as a kid. I wasn't either. You know, wish I was. Wish I learned to code. I wish I knew how to use AI. I wish I was at a healthy weight. I wish my sense of humor was more palatable. My comedy career actually went somewhere. I don't know. I see people fail upward. I've failed downward. Failing fatward. That's a good band. It's an offshoot of Stabbing Westward. Somebody was mentioning the band Morphine. I was like, make it a double, make it. I actually pulled that out and like listened to it for a minute. I was like, I can't listen to this anymore. I was in a morphine phase like 15 years ago. Not the drug, but the band. Believe me, I'm sleepy enough as it is. But anyway, thanks for watching Modest Mouse. Really appreciate it. Glad you get my comedy. You're in a select, tiny group of people that find me funny. Less than 0.5% of the population. The other guy's like, this show sucks. I'm like, I know. That's why I have a tiny audience with tiny wings. You know, if the show was any good, people would watch it. That sucks. Hey, honey, you want to watch a fat guy ramble? Well, it couldn't be any worse than talking to you, honey. What's that, dear? Nothing, sweetheart. It's dinner time. Get your tiny wing into the dining room. Why do I sound like Aunt B all of a sudden? Clara Barton. Dude, Aunt B's affected, falsetto voice was something. I love me some Andy Griffith Show. Gomer, Goober. Judy. Want to hear my Cary Grant impression? Judy. Stick his thumb out. Should we do a poll? Who do you prefer, Gomer or Goober? It'd be a legit thing. Or you want to go Ernest T. Bass? You want to go Ernest T. Bass? You want to give him his uniform? He's going to keep breaking windows till he gets his uniform. Might be wise just to give it up. Anyway. I don't know why I thought of Ernest T. Bass all of a sudden. Good character. Little character actor. Who else you got? You got Otis, the Town Drunk. Huge Floyd the Barber fan. Of course, Barney Fife. Can't forget Barney Fife. Mrs. Lash. Like when Barney Fife bought the used car and got conned by the old lady. Another favorite of mine was when Barney dressed up as a woman, posed as a mannequin in the store. What was the store guy's name? Who was always screwing everybody over? The angry old man. Can't remember. I don't really know what the Andy Griffith Show has to do with Sofi. It's America. There's no direct corollary, I suppose. My friends didn't die face down in the muck in Vietnam. Walter, what does this have to do with Vietnam? He's like, well, I guess there's not a direct corollary. Anyway, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, if you couldn't tell. Billy Jack Goes Gomer. I like it. Is there anything you should know about SMCX? No, you just, they have relatively high fees, but all those leveraged ones do. I mean, I've invested in it numerous times. Here's the thing. Don't just go into SMCX for leverage. Like, go into it for a swing. If you want leverage, buy leaps, if that's all you're looking for. You have to, SMCX, you have to time it. You have to time a run. So going into the next earnings, I don't know, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, now-ish. I mean, I'm buying SMCX now, full disclosure. Full disclosure, guys. You guys have tiny wings. Full disclosure. Fucking full disclosure. Nafa Feppo. I love how people online think they talk about stocks, they're going to get sued. Bunch of idiots. You say whatever you want. It's like you can't do fraud. You can't like pump crypto. Like, I don't do fraud, so I don't care. I don't lie. As long as you just tell the truth. Like, when I say I'm bullish something, it's because I'm long. Doesn't mean I'm not playing options and swings and stuff, but it definitely means I'm not short. I tell you if I'm short something. You can't come on and lie. I think that's the main thing. You can't be like promoting something or getting paid, some secret bullshit. And, you know, as you guys can tell, my nothing burger, like no one would pay me anyway. But even if they would, I wouldn't do it. I'd do anything dishonest. Plus, I don't want your money. I don't need it. Thank goodness. You need your money more than I do. Trust me. I'd sell you my course for free. If you have a question for me, I'll give you a 100% honest answer for free, because that's exactly what my opinion is worth. My opinion is no more valid than anyone's here, believe me. You gain more wisdom in the comments section, more IQ points than you do with your humble host, Danny Deals. Do you guys know why they call me cornbread? Well, it's because I'm moist, I'm doughy, and I crumble under pressure. They call me the tugboat because I'm short in stature, pull more than my own weight, and I'm rarely far from my own board. Of course, they call me Stubby Cohiba due to an unfortunate manscaping accident I had with my Vitamix blender. They call me DJ Apache Drizzle because I know how to throw a wet blanket over any party and make sure everyone gets home safe and doesn't get laid. They call me MC Al Dente. They call me Stock Karen. They call me Hurricane Lopez. They call me Danny Deals. They also call me by my Christian name, my given name, Tabasco Rojas. So there you go. Scott liked it. Don't do that, Scott. Don't do that. You're going to give people ideas. You definitely don't want to like or subscribe to this channel. You get a computer virus, shuts down your whole system. It's like when you go to those random porn sites, it puts up that, Microsoft, call 1-800, I have a tiny dick and I'm ashamed. I'll get your system back online. Just send us one stablecoin. What's up, brother? Thanks, Scott. No, seriously, I appreciate it. Yep, I won't call you late for dinner, Billy Jack. Billy Jack's the kind of man I could hit a barbecue place with. Just do a little thinking. Get some nice pulled pork. Perhaps some of those giant gargantuan beef ribs. Maybe a nice big smoked tomahawk steak. Just talk a little shop, talk a little stock with Billy Jack. That sounds like good times to me. So sick of people here. Everybody's a fucking Karen. Everybody's a Karen. Everybody complains about everything. Everybody here has money. They don't have worries. Their kids are off to some fucking Ivy League school. You know, like their microaggressions are triggered by like the most little tiny inconveniences. Like, God forbid, like I let everybody merge. I don't care. I'm not in a hurry. Unless I'm in my truck, and then, forget about it. Rusty don't play. Rusty's my C10 short bed. LS power. If you hear Rusty, you see my lowered truck, just don't even try it. I don't care about your Tesla. Unless you have that really, really good one and huge balls. I mean, you might be able to take me off the line if you have a sport mode. You can. I mean, it's not that fast. It's not at 3 seconds 0 to 60 or anything, but it's quick. It's quick. And I'm crazy. So don't fuck around. You're going to find out. Hey, honey, I think this fat guy's crazy. You're probably right, dear. He looks off. Anyway, I don't street race, guys. Very, very dangerous. I never did as a youth. So anyway, I don't know what the hell's going on with Sofi. I popped back up to 2650, but they're not going to be able to hold this thing down before the next D. The next DR is going to be big, but guidance is going to be bigger because you're going to start to recognize revenues off this stuff. This is going to save their customers money. This is going to bring in tech clients. Remember, they're selling their tech, modules on Amazon Web Services now. It's not just, you don't have to go full proprietary Sofi Galileo. So I think they're revising their strategies all the time in terms of, their sales and product and all that stuff. But I really don't think Sofi needs external tech customers at all to be an extremely successful monster financial juggernaut, huge top 10 financial institution. I think they can do that all under the Sofi umbrella because I think they're going to be doing things people haven't even come close to thinking of yet. And I think the crypto, blockchain, digital assets, I think this is going to be everywhere. I think Sofi could be a power player in terms of the backbone, just not in the way we thought necessarily. maybe not just, buying into the Galileo infrastructure, but maybe using a bunch of different SoFi tools, incorporating that with some other infrastructure. I don't know. I'm just blabbering. I'm not smart enough to understand what the fuck this all means, but I just think SoFi is putting together something that is going to be incredibly successful for decades and decades to come. I felt that way for a long time, and every time I see management make moves, every time I see them do something strategic like raise money at 27.50, and what I say, it's going to fall way back down below that offering, and then it's going to come back up, and it's going to go to all-time highs, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Nobody's smarter than those institutions who just bought all those shares at 27. Why would they buy $1.5 billion worth of shares at 27.50 if the stock is worth so much less and it's going back to the teens? They wouldn't. They'll prop it up. They can prop the stock up at 25 if they want. Those who bought at 27.50, they oversubscribed anyway. They'll buy another $1.5 billion on the open market, not dilute anything. So what? Shove a sharp, pointy hot dog in the short's eye. Third Eye Brown, that old band. Doop, 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 doop. Sky was blue, it was blue, I was running. I wishing I was back there, place you. Throwing myself into the fire. I don't remember the words. Down straight round on the bathroom wall. You will hold me. Good song. I used to listen to a lot of 91X in San Diego when I was a youth. My collegiate days. I was Russian sororities. Rushing sororities unsuccessful. Somebody kick that fat guy out of here. This was before you could claim a gender identity and just rush a sorority. It's hard times. Anyway, I have no idea what I'm rambling out about this point, but I'm super, super excited about this stablecoin. If you guys want to see a good little spiel, look at Annika Masrani. Never really heard of her, to be honest, but SoFi stock soars after announcing. I don't think it really soared. I mean, everything's kind of up this amount. So they're stepping on it, you can tell, and there's no volume. So, the powers that be are not ready for SoFi to make a big move just right now. The options aren't right. The timing's not right. Perhaps, I don't think it's really tax loss harvesting. And I hope you don't swing from the top at earnings and swing out of the stock now. It's pretty dumb. But SoFi Technologies cementing its transition from consumer lender to digital infrastructure powerhouse. Part of the shift, the company launched SoFi USD, which is a dollar-pegged stablecoin designed to improve commercial funds settlement up in the pre-market. So SoFi dismantles the long chain of traditional banking by launching its own on-chain currency. It's going to be on Ethereum. SoFi is and other blockchains over time. SoFi is aiming directly at the slow, high-fee world of legacy fund transfers. Partners can now use SoFi's bank-grade infrastructure to move capital around the clock with near-instant settlement at fractional cent prices. The company is not just stopping at commercial clients. It plans to integrate SoFi USD into its consumer crypto trading, international remittances, point-of-sale services. Noto justified the aggressive move, saying blockchain is a technology supercycle that will fundamentally change finance. He noted the company is combining our regulatory strength as a national bank with transparent, fully reserved on-chain technology. You guys know what the Genius Act is. Basically cleared the decks for banks to go into stablecoin. Established a clear federal framework for stablecoins. July 2025, institutional interest in digital assets has exploded. The law explicitly removes compliant stablecoins from SEC oversight, placing them under banking regulators like the OCC, which is exactly where SoFi already operates. So the Genius Act was perfect for SoFi to, get back into crypto, starts blockchain stuff full scale. So regulatory clarity allows SoFi to scale without the Wild West risks that once plagued the sector. While competitors like Visa and Fiserv have launched similar tools, SoFi is uniquely positioned to use SoFi USD to lower borrowing costs and speed up payments across its entire ecosystem. This, guys, is what Noto's talking about when he says durable competitive advantage. In fact, this is what an analyst suggests this diversification is helping SoFi transition to a more durable, higher margin financial platform with adjusted net revenue now projected to hit 3.54 billion this year. The national bank status provides the ultimate safety net. Unlike many fintech competitors, SoFi is issued by a national depository institution regulated by the OCC. The stablecoins are fully backed by cash reserves for immediate redemption, providing a layer of security that pure play crypto firms cannot match. This bank grade reliability is critical as SoFi expands its crypto business from retail holders to massive commercial partners. The company confirmed is already in advanced discussions with several institutions to begin using the coin, which went live Thursday with an initial mint of 10,000 as a proof of concept. Is SoFi a good stock to buy? And this is they're saying it's a hold. But guys, I noticed this is funny. I noticed Midwest Values put out another call on SoFi. So he just came out $18 in the sell, reiterated. I don't know where it was before, but JP Morgan 2.4 raised to $31. And as I noted, JP Morgan increased their share count last quarter by 900%. JP Morgan increased their SoFi share count last quarter by 900%. JP Morgan increased their SoFi share count last quarter by 900%. Hey guys, JP Morgan increased their SoFi share count by 900% last quarter. Just saying. JP Morgan does not make speculative play that I've seen. JP Morgan is sort of like if Vanguard and BlackRock are the 800-pound gorillas in the room, like JP Morgan's the goddamn zookeeper. He's the guy with the, Jamie Dimon's the guy with the fucking tranquilizer gun and all the food. He's the guy behind the curtain. He's a guy behind the guy behind the guy, like Mikey and Rounders. I'll be up 500 by midnight. Little babies all grows up. Little babies all grows up. I couldn't stand Vince Vaughn then, and I can't stand him now. But I think that's kind of his shtick. I don't know. Got a forehead like Giuliano Bologna. It's like a less talented Ralph Macchio. Ralph Macchio should have got every role Vince Vaughn ever had. I love Ralph Macchio. I'm not actually a Vince Vaughn hater. I just don't think he's very good. I mean, he's a better actor than Ben Affleck. That's like a low bar. It's a bar fell off and it's laying on the ground. Another giant forehead. What are all these actors? What about Kevin Costner? That guy's got a pretty big forehead in his own right. I'm fond of you, Sue. It's like reminds me of George Costanza's book, Acting Without Acting. Kind of more of a pamphlet than a book. That late curb, so stupid. We're all so old. She's beautiful, Larry. I'm in love. Oh my God. How did SMCI reverse? It's totally sus. You have to be in prediction markets to get coverage on CNBC, apparently. Yeah, I know. Everybody, like, what would you rather see? Build out, this blockchain infrastructure for, B2B and banks and consumer, or do sports betting? They're acting like this is a good thing. This could completely backfire on Robinhood, I'm telling you. There's already a bunch of attorneys general who are saying basically they don't care if you're packaging it as like securities. You're doing parlays. Everybody can see what you're doing. You're doing like a 5-team teaser and calling it some kind of, derivative swap. Swap these nuts, Vlad. Go get a haircut. Why don't you go get a haircut and stop introducing new products, stealing our thunder? Anthony Noto was my biological father. Paraphrase, great Tracy Morgan, good friend of mine. Shout out to Tracy. Anyway, guys, he's not really a good friend of mine. I met him before, but wouldn't know who the fuck I am. Who's this fat guy? Where are my sliders? Anyway, Hood is so far overvalued, it's ridiculous. When all this stuff, when you're going to see this crypto stuff ripple through. I think Hood's next ER might be really, I don't think it's going to be bad or anything. I mean, but I think it's just going to be below expectations. Still think it's a really good company and they have, great growth potential and all kinds of stuff. But I just don't think, I don't think sports betting is necessarily, it's going to catch on right now, with them but I'm telling you, SoFi savers over Robinhood traders, SoFi savers over Robinhood gamblers. And I'm a gambler. I'm a compulsive gambler. I love to gamble, but I keep it in check because I don't want to be broke and living on the street. Anyway, what's up? You'll never find a forehead like mine. He doesn't have a forehead. He has a 5-head. He doesn't have dreams. He has Field of Dreams was a pretty good movie. I like James Edward Jones and stuff in that. Yeah, they're always, love to talk about Hood. And, it's sexy. Vlad's a sexy guy. Wears those fancy shoes. Wears tight pants. Wants everybody to see his, little tiny bulge. Got that soul patch. Kind of reminds me of Parker Schnabel from Gold Rush. Meanwhile, Parker Schnabel is out on cut 32 trying to get some water from Tony Beats. He's like, hey, Tony, you think I could borrow some water? Fuck you, Parker. Go fuck yourself. I'm Swedish. We don't help people. Fuck you. Like, okay, thanks, Tony. My grandpa said you might be willing to help me. Fuck you and your grandpa. Go fuck yourself. Why wouldn't you help him, Dad? Like, fuck you. I got a mustache comes down below my knees. You know what that's like? You ever try to eat something? It's like trying to get your food through a car wash. You know what I mean? Come on, honey. We're not going to help him, this little fucker. You get $5 million a clean out. You guys know Gold Rush Scuttlebutt? Tony Beats, got that fat guy, Todd. Just couldn't mine his way out of a fucking paper bag. Just no idea what he's doing. Just relying on God. You can't give certain things to God. I'm telling you. Like, you can't. God may take care of you at the end of the day on your deathbed, but he's not just going to give you technical expertise you don't have. Like, you're not just going to be able to say a little prayer and understand the intricacies of mining. I'm not just going to go, hey, God, can you make me a electrical engineer? I want a better career. He's like, oh, you should have gone to school, you fat turd. Like, man, then you're awfully blunt. Like, hey, I'm God. Tell it like it is, you punk ass bitch. I'm like, oh, I respect your honesty. Can anyone, another comment I got was, what the hell is this show? It's amazing. I don't know. You can't put baby in a box. You can't put Danny in a corner. Oh, can't fit a tiny wing in a square peg or a square peg in a round hole. You have a tiny wing, every problem looks like a hammer. The short sellers say. Tony got it done. Yeah, Tony got it done. That's where they're going to put that money to back these stable coins. I think it's going to be 10,000. It's going to be like 10 billion of these things floating around. There'll be dictators using them, funding all kinds of things, like arms sales and Nicolas Cage. I don't know. What's up, Scott? I can't stop, Scott. I do this all day. I almost doubled my, sometimes I just laugh so hard. That's the only thing that gets me through, guys. I got to laugh at this fucking world, because it's all just, I don't get it. I don't get people. I don't get Karens. I don't get people that make bad decisions and keep making the same bad decisions over. That's what pisses me off in the markets. I see people going, I did this. Stop. Do things that are going to make you money for your family, for yourself. Stop playing the fool. You are the mark. Like, no, I know what I'm doing. No, you don't. Buy an index fund. Watch Strongman. Only two people I trust are Strongman and Stockmo. Strongman's largely for that. I don't think he's riding around in the car doing that up the nose shot anymore. He's scratching that eczema constantly. Dude, you have good content. Stop it. Nobody wants to hear you laughing like a fucking jackal, like a hyena at your own jokes that aren't even remotely funny. It's like Dane Cook. It's like the Dane Cook of stock comedy. Like none of your jokes have punchlines. None of your stories are funny. None of your anecdotes land. And yet you made millions and millions of dollars as a stand-up comedian. Where I couldn't draw a crowd of fucking 2 live bodies to save my life. 2 warm bodies. But, you know, I was drinking heavily and violent. It was a different time. Didn't really have my shit together. Wasn't presentable. Not fulfilling the terms of my contract. Didn't read the morals clause. Need to be escorted out by security. Won't be playing here again. Not going to be sending your fee. I'm going to the office to get my gun. You better be back when I... They're all things I've heard at one time or another. I've been violently attacked by my audience repeatedly. Times people make the mistake of heckling. You fuckers. You want to heckle me because I'm fat? I've never heard that before. I've never heard any fat jokes before. I'm sure I can't find any anything on you to pick at. Watch this. Honey, why are you crying? I was only in the bathroom for a minute. I heckled that fat guy. It was a huge mistake. Did a psychological analysis on me. It was disturbingly accurate. Cut me to the quick. I'm just playing. I'm working on a character. It's like a Puerto Rican guy who's like always pretending to threaten you. No, man. I'm also thinking many Cuban and Puerto Rican foods I saw on the Food Network are just made up. My grandpa's hot dog recipe. Sazon, mofongo. Put it in a wooden bowl, beat it with a baseball bat. Okay, guy? This is food? Guy Fieri. Guy's made so much money. Putting everything covering it in donkey sauce. Restaurant's the worst thing I've ever had in my life. Guy Fieri's hometown American kitchen. Hey guys, we fry these balls in duck lard and then cover them in donkey sauce. That sounds healthy. What's up, Devin Ishida? How you doing today? What's going on in 3925 land? Raising Arizona, that's a good movie. Nick Cage, that's Nick Cage's finest. Who was the woman in that? Was it Sarah Jessica Parker? Oh no, that was Peggy Sue Got Married. That was also kind of good. We're the Flying Elvises, Utah chapter. In phase, they landed 2 safe harbor contracts. Yeah, I've checked out the stock before, but not really recently. First time commenting, long time listener. Can't get enough of this. What's going on, Nick Uranus Fitness? Fitness focusing completely on the sphincter. It's gonna have the strongest asshole known to man. It's my goal. Definitely all my other body parts are pure flab. Pure biscuit dough. Kids used to call me biscuit dough. Used to knead me with a rolling pin. Jack Tripper, yeah. Right upstairs from the Rusty Pelican. Which is adjacent to the Rusty Trombone. Let's see. I think they were in Santa Monica. I think that show was based in Santa Monica, if I recall. So I'm pretty close to there. Right on the coast, baby. Living it up. Living my best life. Trying to spend through all my winnings. Vegas sucks now. I'll tell you that. Vegas is terrible. It's like, it's so corporate. Like, I don't know. You get yelled at for little things. I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? You used to treat me like a golden god, like Dennis Reynolds. Now, if you don't have your card or something, like they tase you, just drag you outside, beat the living shit out of you. Oh, wait, is this my comedy show? Taking a beating out behind a dumpster? What is it, a Tuesday night at Flubbers? I based that off a third of the sales going into the fourth quarter. Holly Hunter. Okay, Holly Hunter. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that, man. Don't tase me, bro. Yeah. No, I love that. Don't sue me, bro. Nafa fatbo. Nafa fatbo, turds. Don't sue me. Don't tase me. Don't hate me. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Okay, so SoFi, they're just holding it around that 250 mark, 5% gain. Fine with me. I ain't mad at that. You know, I think the stock's going to regain the 50-day. I think it's going to regain 30. It's going to regain the all-time. I don't think anybody wants to see this be short the stock or be dumping shares into the next ER. Last ER, I think, if it wasn't a home run, it was a freaking really nice triple. You know, if it wasn't an A+, I'd certainly give it an A. I mean, I don't know what you want from management. I don't know what you want them to turn in. But the growth they're turning in, this type of business, strong margins are going to expand. That's the key thing here. It's not just, obviously revenue growth is critical, but margin expansion is what you really, what you really need to see. I mean, it's like SMCI. I mean, it's the opposite scenario. It's like, okay, revenue is expanding extraordinarily rapidly, margins going down. It's why, one of the reasons why the price has obviously not responded the same way SoFi has to sort of sustained pop. That's why they're still playing with it, because they can create uncertainty. They can create that narrative whenever they want, because, obviously management sort of opened the door to that line of questioning. What are your qualifications? My cousin Vinny style, Miss DeVito, Miss Vito, whatever her name was. 4 points off dead Santa. My dad was a mechanic. My uncle's a mechanic. My grandpa was a mechanic. My 5 brothers are mechanics. Well, that's very impressive, Miss Vito. Perhaps your relatives are qualified. Oil changes, starters, transmissions. She won an Oscar for that. Marissa Tomei is a really good actor. Not just like in that movie, but she's a really good actor in general. The Anger Management. That's an underrated movie. I like that one. I believe he just made an anti-Semitic remark. Who, that guy? He's like pointing at a blind guy. Yeah, I heard him mutter something about the Holocaust. Kanish. Because I ever watched that movie? It was Barton Fink or something with that guy, like John Goodman. Totally insane. Absolutely crazy. No, that's a bullshit question. Yeah, that's it's so good. Yeah, they definitely love to kill the options on Friday. Guys, I wouldn't buy anything today for tomorrow. Give this a couple of weeks. Better yet, just spend the money and buy options for after the next ER. And then sell the pop, and wait for it to sell back off. Because I don't know how big earnings are going to be, but we need a big earnings surprise for a sustained pop. They love to hold this thing, so it is what it is. What will the stablecoin do for SoFi? Yeah, Modest Mouse, you got to go back, but it's going to do all kinds of things. It's not only going to speed up payments, make them faster, cheaper, instant, secure. It's going to bring that in-house. They're going to be able to provide white label stable coins for other fintechs, other institutions. They're going to be able to provide, remittance services for others. They're going to provide B2B services. There's going to, allow customers to buy crypto more efficiently. It's going to all kinds of things, long list of things. I tried to go over it, before. And there's another, there's various articles available. But Jeffrey Adelson, Midwest Values, dude, this guy looks like Beaker. This guy seriously looks exactly like Beaker. The same head shape. Fuck. Morgan Fudley. They're probably accumulating the stock too. No, I think they actually sold. But anyway, high beta, high momentum, high stakes. Ooh, this is exactly what I was talking about. Dilution headlines miss the balance sheet upgrade story. It's like they're raising money from a position of strength very intelligently. I don't see how you could possibly think that's a negative. Sell Upstart and SoFi. It's the defaults, not the interest rates. Oh my God. This is the Tanner guy. This is the Tanner guy. Holy Christ. Kick me in the balls and call me Mabel, as the kids used to say in my Sunday school. Gary J. Gordon, math professor and certified turd. Certified financial tiny wing turd. Let's see what this big bullum-headed freak has to say, shall we? Let's have Tanner get on this guy, get this guy on again, and say how wrong he was about the defaults. Saying about the defaults. It's talking about where it trades. Why my negativity? 3 key reasons were both companies are currently primarily unsecured consumer lenders. It's fast changing for SoFi. Plenty of competition. Traditional card lenders, Capital One, JP Morgan, Chase. JP Morgan Chase, again, just increased their SoFi share count last quarter by almost 900%. I don't know. Gary doesn't mention that. Last week's news, JP Morgan said now expects U.S. Federal Reserve to deliver a cut or increase confidence in a rate cut. Federal Governor Christopher, interest rates on unemployment rate cut are opposites. This guy's just trying to explain the macroeconomy. He's just trying to mansplain things rather than, doing a mea culpa and saying how wrong he was about SoFi. Because he was. Which matters more to consumer lending stocks, interest rates or defaults. Neither Upstart nor SoFi public companies very long. Use Capital One. This is the same thing he was doing before. It's just, the sector, Capital One is experiencing X, therefore SoFi is a piece of shit. I don't know. The unemployment rate, yeah. Further defaults drive credit growth. He's just kind of explaining these concepts, using illustrations that are not really apt because SoFi is not the same as Capital One. Where does he actually summing up time? He sums up all this stuff that has really doesn't make. I have to read this carefully, but if it's anything like last time, what he talked about with Tanner, he just is just full of logical fallacies. I mean, he's using Capital One as his case study to prove, SoFi and Upstart are bad companies. And I would argue SoFi and Upstart have very little in common. But that's just me. So let's see, summing up logically, if these job market trends persist or more likely, in my view, accelerate, then investor attention will eventually shift from lower interest rates to higher unemployment default rates, which in turn will lead to higher credit expenses and lower loan originations. Right now, investors are pretty confident. SoFi is selling at 49 times estimated 2026 GAAP EPS. Upstart's valuation is trickier. Wall Street has accepted the company's earnings definition, which differs from GAAP primarily because it excludes an expense any employee compensation paid in stock. That expense has been about 30 cents a share in recent quarters. I therefore reduce Upstart's 26 Wall Street estimate of $2.40 to $1.20 to get a comparable figure to SoFi. Nearly all publicly traded companies that put some at high valuations create lots of room for downside. I therefore say sell these stocks. But it's just no mention of SoFi growing at 35% year on year. There's no mention that they are rapidly expanding EPS every quarter and that their projection, and he said last time I remember, because I did watch him several times because I know he's a smart guy and he's decades in the industry. And, it's always smart to not be in a thought bubble and listen to people with, differing points of view. So I probably listen and read more to bearish points than bullish points because I'm already convinced on the bull case. I don't need to really read the bull case. I need to have my, ideas challenged. I need to think critically. That's key to being a successful investor. But I think the logical fallacy is that basically any downturn that hits, a credit card company or a lender is going to hit SoFi sort of in the same manner, and that things will hit, Upstart in the same way they're going to hit SoFi. And I just don't think that's true. I've said this a bunch of times in my most recent videos. I think SoFi is built to weather the storm. I think SoFi is built to survive, up and down markets. I think they've grown successfully regardless of the conditions and the obstacles put in their way. So I don't know. The defaults never really materialized the way Gary said they would, with sustained high interest rates. Just didn't happen. So he was wrong. That's my recollection of things. He was just dead wrong. And now he's doubling down because he probably looks like a fool. That's my theory. And remember how smug he was for that real know-it-all, I have this smirk because, I've been in this business longer than you've been alive. Bowflex boy. That's what he calls Tanner. Bowflex boy. Disrespect. But I don't know. It's the same way I listen to the Bologna Sandwich talk about SoFi's skyrocketing defaults for 90 minutes on that guy with the terrible hair plugs, his show. Guy thinks he knows everything about everything. Running some kind of bullshit quant investment service for people with tiny wings and huge bankrolls. People just overcompensating with G-Wagons, hoping it'll make their penis look bigger. But actually, such a large SUV makes your penis appear even smaller, relatively. Relative penis size is a concept Wall Street has largely ignored. I think Robinhood's going to be doing bets. Which U-turd audience has the tiniest wing? I think Unpoco Moss is going to be right there, right in the running. Yeah, totally. He was totally disrespecting Tanner. And I thought, Tanner, when you have that age imbalance and you have that perception, but I thought Tanner was really smarter than him and making better points than him. That was my opinion, but I just don't think he was really firing. Because I don't think Tanner wanted to come off as hey, I'm a pumper for the stock. And he wanted to come off more as neutral. I'm seeking information. But this guy was going so negative. If I was Tanner, I would have jumped through this screen and, strangled this guy. Not really. I'm not at all a violent person. But I just thought the talk he gave was just utter bullshit. I think he had him on twice. And I don't know. As I recall, everything he said didn't happen. Everything he said was going to happen. So I don't know. There's something called credibility. There's something called consistency. I was the one, I think I made probably more accurate SoFi calls than anybody. Everybody thought I was far too optimistic about where the stock was going. They thought I was crazy. Went way further than I thought it would. And everybody was trying to catch up, And I was talking about the, crazy disparity in the shorts and shorting from the lows and how I thought they were insane, shorting from 7 and how that was going to lead to a much bigger move to the upside. And be like, oh, you're crazy. You just pay way too much attention to the short. Do I? I don't think so. Because I see these numbers move stocks when these numbers shift. When they unwind these positions, you see institutional ownership, increasing, retail passionate, committed. I see this stock going to all-time highs very, very soon. This thing's a juggernaut. It's a monster in the make. This is going to be a giant company. I'm more convinced SoFi is going to be a giant company and grow for decades and decades to come than anything else in the market. Anything else. My highest conviction. I don't care if you buy it at 25. I don't care if you buy it at 26 if you have a long-term mindset. If you have a short-term mindset and you're going to, cry a river if it goes back to 21.49, don't buy because it could happen. It still hasn't made a lot of money. I mean, even over the whole history of the company, they haven't made much profit. But that's all about to change. I think the EPS ramp that's coming is going to be, is going to basically reprice the stock to the upside. And we're going to get the tech multiple. We're going to get the whole enchilada. Paraphrase the Texas tornadoes. Adios, Mexico. Adios, Mexico. No, Tanner knows the stocks well. He does. He knew the stock a million times better than this clown. This guy had nothing to say. He's just like, well, let's talk about, I think he was talking about Capital One then too. He's like, whoa, Capital One bought Discover trying to stay relevant. Nobody cares about Capital One. What's in your wallet? I'd rather hire Gary Johnson, Gary J. Gordon Johnson, Tesla bear. He looks real good right now. It's busted growth story. Might be right. Might have been right in certain respects on the auto part, but he just didn't really understand what they were doing. It's never a car company, Gordon. It's a software, AI, chip, power. It's a tech company. It's not a car company. It's a tech company. Don't get it twisted. I don't think Elon's going to build a fab either. That's more bullshit, more hot air, but the AI is real. Full self-driving is real. You know, driverless taxi, they're going to do it. I love Tesla. I mean, I've been, you know, I look people like, oh, you like Neo, you must hate Tesla. Not at all. I love EV. Tesla was cutting edge a little while ago. I think Neo's a cutting edge in EV right now. Obviously down 493. But anyway, SoFi back down. They just nailed it. I don't know why, but don't worry about it. Just if you want to buy on these little dips. Oh yeah, market closed. I didn't even know what time it was. I've been talking forever. It's like 2 hours of me. All right, guys, it's 101, like the freeway, and I got to get the hell out of here. Okie dokie. Anyway, guys, so they really hit it at the end of the day, but that's just laughable. It's like amateur hour. Big deal. Who cares? I think tomorrow, this thing, I mean, they might try to kill options tomorrow, but next week the stock's going to absolutely rip, you know, assuming the market stays healthy, which is quite an assumption, but don't know what's going to happen there. But assuming, you know, if we get some blue skies, you know, I think this is extremely, extremely good news. Anyway, you slice it. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it, Alex. My wife is amazed. That's what filtered tap water in a tiny wing audience. Yeah, Alex, I don't know. I probably say like a few million words in the course of this broadcast, but I think there's very little content of meaning. Sorry, I realize I'm still broadcasting. Talking to somebody. Anyway, yeah, it's ridiculous talking this long. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, but I think great news for SoFi, great news for my biological father, Anthony Noto, and great news for the Unpoco Moss community, guys. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and it's Unpoco Moss. Appreciate it. Have a good one, guys. Later. Peace.